Welcome, welcome all. We are up and running. We've got a new live cast going tonight. We're running with Gabby16. He's going to be running with us on some level 4s. So here we go. Gabby, why don't you announce yourself here?
Hey everyone, how you doing?
So tonight he's running in a RattleSnake. He's running a mostly passive tank with some damage amplifiers in for his drones. He's also going to be running sentries with me. What he'll probably do in a lot of these instances is just assign his sentries to me because I can lock faster. Being as that I'm in a cruiser, my lock time is quite a bit quicker, so that'll make things just go a little bit faster for us. So let's go ahead and get our first mission in here, and then let's see where it takes us tonight.
Also, with me assigning drones to him, it also allows him to set up all damage on a single target all at the same time instead of it being spread out.
Yep, and that is always handy. It looks like we are doing In the Midst of Deadspace 1 of 5. Let's see if we can get through all 5 parts tonight. It is doable. It's going to be a little bit of work, but it should be doable. This first one, the bonus payout is 1.2 million ISK. The standard payout is 920,000. We have loyalty points just a hair under 4,000, so this is going to be a pretty good one. This is against Serpentis. It's against Amarr. So it will be a lot of EM damage, which means we're just going to really have to pay attention on what we're doing. Both of our ships are shield tanks, so EM is our worst. And that's just how we're going to have to go. So let me go ahead and get this accepted, and then we're going to go ahead and head out. Now, we are already fleeted up. Both of us are in a fleet. He's running as the squad booster since he has the better leadership skills. I am running just as the fleet leader since I'm the one accepting the mission, so you can all see them. As we go, I will be warping him in and out of where we're at, unless I need to warp out solo. Due to massive damage, and he's still tanking fine. It's all going to depend on how it goes. We'll just have to see what they throw at us. But here we go.
I've already undocked, and I'm outside the station waiting.
Okay, going to be just half a second. We're going to go ahead and open up our mission here. So we've got the small window up, so you guys can see what happens when it's done, and see that it's completed. I'm going ahead and undocking now. I did not announce in local tonight. I guess I should probably go ahead and do that. Let's get that in there. Get that copied up. And there we go. We have now broadcast in local, so our local friends can jump in and join us. The more the merrier. We do like to have lots of people talking while we're out here. Here is Gabby right over here. I'm going to do a look at her so you can see what her ship is. She is flying a RattleSnake. This is a very high-end faction. Not for the faint of heart when it comes to spending money, but it is a very, very well-fit tanked ship. It is part Galente and part Calderi, which means it has very good missile skills, and it also has lots and lots of drone capacity. That's the reason why he'll be running sentries with us tonight. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and warp everybody right on in. So if you click up here and you go to the warp location, you can warp yourself in. To warp everyone else, we're not going to be able to do that. We're going to have to right-click, go down to the mission, go to the encounter, and then warp squad within 0. That will get us directly to the gate. As I recall, on this particular mission, it is gated. One other side note, I did modify my settings just a little bit on the ship I'm flying. My Ishtar now is running Minotaur guns. They use no power, and they have about a 10k range. The reason for doing that is so that if I get nosed out, meaning they take all of my capacitor, that I will still be able to fire my guns.
I have a full complement in my drone bay. I have 5 sets 5 guard 2s, 5 warden 2s. Those are my sentry drones. And then I also run 5 heavy ogre 2s. And for the frigs, I have 5 light hornet 2s. I also have 4 cruise missile launchers on this, T2, but I'm just running the T1 missiles.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and wait for Gabby to get in here. I want to give a shout out to Doxus Min, who just joined the channel on Twitch. Thanks for joining. Hope you enjoy the show. We're just running some level 4s tonight, but it should be quite enjoyable as you watch one of the two of us get to the screaming point.
All right, I'm heading on in here. Take the gate.
I didn't even see that you were here yet. There you are.
I wasn't too far behind you. Since my ship's about 3 times the size of CTV's there, it does take me a little longer to warp and a little longer to get places.
But that's not always a bad thing. I need to get my mission targets locked up here and on my list. This is a multi-part, so there's going to be multiple damage types. So there's lots of different ships that have to be added to that list. I do not have any preset list with me tonight, so I'm just going to have to do this. As you can see, I'm already starting to take a good little bit of damage here.
I already dropped my guards out, and they are assisting you, so
I am already locking up here. As you can see, my shields are starting to take a little bit of damage, but it's not too bad. I have my guards out, and let me get down here, and we're going to get shooting here. I am now firing. I'm going to go ahead and shoot my guns to get the other sentries firing as well. They should be now firing.
Since I'm using cruise missiles, I can't really hit the smaller targets all that easily. Can't do much damage to them, so I have locked up all the big battleships, and I will be firing my cruise missiles at them.
And as you can see, we're just pounding right through this. At this point, we're not taking enough damage from either one of us to be of any concern. And that is a very, very good thing for us. The more damage that we have, the worse this would become. As you can see, my guards are no longer hitting because they are way too close on the last 2 little ships I've got. So I'm going to have to return those and launch out my lights and go ahead and take care of these support frigates. They are not currently doing a lot of damage, but I do need to get them taken out nonetheless.
They are the ones that you have to worry about the most a lot of times because they will web you, which slows your speed down, or they will warp scramble you, which disables your warp core, so you cannot leave.
Okay, so now they are gone and we are free fire again. So I'm going to go ahead and start locking up the other cruisers that are out here. They are on the first of my list, so we're going to go ahead and take those out first. As you can see, Gabby just took out one of the battleships. So we're going to lock up our long range because these guys are just a hair over 50k that I need to be hitting. So we're going to go ahead and take out those cruisers that are sitting out there just a little ways here.
Yep, I started on the next 2 Navy Armageddons that are about 30 kilometers from me.
Now, Mark, I can't see whether or not your sentries are actually firing. Did they say they are actually firing?
Yes, they are firing.
Okay.
I am getting hit notifications on my screen that they are firing. Well, actually, that time they all missed. So.
Well, missing is still better than not firing at all.
Yeah, it's showing that they're missing, so they might be out of range. I didn't have that cruiser locked up to see if it was within their range or not.
I'm actually starting to lose a warden, so I'm going to go ahead and return mine. And then I'm going to drop out some guards here in just a second after they switch targets again. We always want to make sure that they are attempting to switch targets anyway. That way we are not just immediately losing our drones when we re-put them back out. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on the 2 that he's already almost got dead, just to get them off the list in case they are attacking our current
They are
drones.
attacking me and and my drones were helping and assisting on that. So.
Okay, so now we're working on the next one that he was already started on. My guards and his guards should now all be within range on these because they are now under 40 kilometers. And we should be able just to finish pounding through these guys. And I see that I've already got a guard starting to take damage again, so I've got one of those APOCs hitting it. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to return him before he takes a lot of damage here.
And for some reason, my drones are sitting idle, so I am going to recall them on this last guy so I can just get them cranking out.
And as you can see, the warden that I had with damage is still damaged. He was not in the bay long enough to get that damage amount down and get his shields recharged. It does take a few minutes for that to happen. It is no longer instant. That is one of the changes they made in EVE. Not in this last patch, but in the previous major patch. Okay, so now that we have that done, it's time to recall in our sentries. We don't want to try to fly off, because if we do that, then we would have to fly all the way back and pick them up again. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and fly towards the gate. And I'm just actually going to approach it. It's 36 kilometers out. And I'm actually going to mute myself, and I'll be back in just a second. Mark, you can take over if you've got any other helpful hints for these guys, and I'll be right back.
All right. Now, I know a lot of people, everybody has their own ship preferences. Everybody has their own race types that they like to use. Just remember to look up what your race is strongest with. If you are Galente, it is drones. If you are Caldari, it's going to be your missiles. They do have some ships that will do hybrid damage, so you can use guns if you are a gun person. Your Minmatar is going to use your long-range guns, which are going to be your artillery cannons, and then they will have auto cannons for the short range. And then your Amarr is all lasers. One of the things you have to watch out for with Amarr, though, is the lasers do take energy. So if you get hit with a NOS or a energy neutralizer, your guns will shut off as soon as you run out of capacity. Have to keep that in mind.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm back. Just had to go take care of something real quick.
As you guys can probably see, CTV's way ahead of me because this big old ship does not move that fast. I am at max speed right now of a whopping 117 meters a second.
Oh, so I'm only doing double your speed. That's why I didn't automatically activate the gate. I went ahead and just set it to just approach that gate. Now we do need to go ahead and save the location like we did last night. You want to make sure that you're saving these. I have a specific salvage folder that I put these in so that I know where to come back to. So we're going to go ahead and save this first spot that we have. And now that that's saved, we can come back to that when we're done and go ahead and clean this up. Now, being that there are 5 parts to this, it all depends on how fast we can get through this. Each part goes through the same sections of this. We have to fly to each gate as we go through, and it gets harder and harder as you continue. So what that means is we're going to be coming to these same spots over and over. There just will not necessarily be ships in every section.
If I remember this one correctly, we will empty the first 2 rooms or pockets this first time through. We will then do a courier mission where you'll have to transport something a couple jumps away to another station. It's real simple and easy. And then we'll come back, and it will actually take us, we'll actually have to come through these first 2 rooms again, which will be empty, and then there will be ships in the 3rd room. And I don't remember how many rooms are past that on the second time that we come through here. But it just continues in that format where the next time that we come in, we'll have to come through all these empty rooms that we've already cleared out and get to the last one, which actually has ships in it. For me, it gets a little monotonous because I fly real slow.
Yep, but for that speed decrease, he trades that for tank. His tank is quite a bit higher than mine. The only thing that gives me a slight better bit of an advantage is that the big battleships do not hit me near as hard as they hit him. Where he takes more damage from even the smaller ships all the way up, my damage starts to trail off at battle cruiser size. The battleships will not hit me near as hard.
Yeah, but I can also hit out farther where you are limited in that ship to your drone range. I am limited more to my locking range because my cruise missiles will go 2 times farther than the distance I can target.
Right. Yep, it's a trade-off. No matter how you play, there is always an advantage and a disadvantage to the ship that you are flying.
All right, I am almost in jump range. I'm 1,500 meters off. I'm set to auto jump as soon as I get there. It will take me a few seconds to turn and start accelerating.
When I see him turn, I'll go ahead and hit jump. It'll still put me as the first person in the room, but then he will be literally right behind me. Now, the first person into these rooms typically is the one that takes aggro, although that does not 100% hold true anymore. As we go through this, you will see that aggro will bounce back and forth between us. And it'll also bounce back and forth to our drones. And that's just how the new AI works in EVE. Not all of us are happy about that. Because it was a whole lot nicer to send your biggest ship through and let it take all of the aggro and then let your little ships come through and just deal out the damage. That just happens to be how they managed to modify it, and that's just something we have to deal with as players. So this is another room where I can use my shorts, I can use my guards, because everything is very, very close. And since I can already lock things up, we're going to go ahead and already get started here.
Yep, my guards are out. They are set to assist you. They're all yours.
I would go ahead and just tell them to guard me for the moment instead of assist, because I can't actually shoot any guns. And because I can't shoot my guns, the assist will never enable. I have to kind of fake it and just shoot a gun at something to get them to fire. On guard mode, they will just shoot at whatever is shooting me. As you can see, I was just webbed by one of the Imperial Navy Gamma 2s. That would mean that if I was moving right now, I would not be moving very fast. And that's perfectly fine. Right now, my guys are probably going to start missing because these guys are in way too close.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and return my sentries here. And I am going to switch out to my lights again because these are frigates. I don't really need to use mediums. I could to increase the damage, but there's really not a lot of a reason to do that. I am going to go ahead and start firing my gun too, just to add that little bit of extra damage because these are level 2 support. They do have a slight bit better tank on them, so they still take just a minute to kill.
And I was just warp scrambled by one of the Imperial Navy Gamma 2s. So if I were to try to warp out right now, I would be unable to do so. And that can get really scary, especially if your ship is starting to get into low armor or into structure, and you are really needing to get out in order to save yourself.
Yep, that's why you normally take out these frigates first. But I just noticed that DC Eric just joined us tonight. Hey, Eric, how's it going tonight? He's calling us a bunch of crazy Southerners. I see how he is with his Canadian accent. 'Cause you betcha. That's okay, though. We all have something crazy. The cargo container that's sitting out there, as you'll see, is from one of the sentry guns. We're not really going to worry about that, but we are going to go ahead and save this location again into our spot 2. As you can see, it automatically remembered which ones I've already typed in from before, and I'm back into my salvage folder, which makes things very easy. So we're going to go ahead and submit that one, and then it's time to return drones, and then it's time to move on to the next room. As you can see, we're already on to the third room here. So I'm going to approach and wait for Gabby to get close. If you guys will give me just a second, I'm going to go turn off one of my lights because it's extremely bright in here.
Yep, cruise missiles do have a nice flight range. My cruise missiles with the skills that I have a 193 kilometer range. Problem with that is they fly slow, and I can only lock out to 89 kilometer or 98 kilometers, sorry. So, I mean, they will track something and follow it if it is flying away, but it may or may not catch up with it.
Yeah, that all depends on what its destruction rate and range and speed are. Just so I get this said tonight, because I haven't said it yet, is that you guys can always tweet me. I have a live Twitter feed running that you can see scrolling at the bottom of the screen. That feed means that you can send me a tweet at hashtag CTV99live, and it will actually show up in the feed. As I see them, I do respond to them. We can answer any kind of questions you might have at that point. While we do have extra people here, it is a great time to ask questions. We don't have any problem with giving you answers. There is no stupid question. I guess unless you're asking if we're gay, and then the answer to that one is absolutely no. But other than that, there's no stupid questions. Now we're going to go ahead and launch out our wardens. They're going to have our longest range because these guys are quite a ways away.
Yep.
And I actually don't know if I can lock any of them up or not. I can. We have bonuses on tonight, and that's going to help me get my range up. And then I will be able to start engaging these targets. As you can see, it looks like Gabby's already taken some shield damage, so she must have taken the first set of locks here.
Yep. But nobody has shot at me yet. I was just kind of healing from the last round.
Okay, well, I'm starting to take out these sentry guns since they happen to be within my range. And then I'm going to switch to these frigates as they start coming in because we'd like to get rid of those before they even get within range, just due to the type of damage that they do. And because these are support frigates, we want to just hammer through them just as fast as we can and make them disappear. As you can see, I'm not going fast enough on these because we still keep having them come in. And they are coming in quite quickly. And they are already starting to hit some of my sentries. So here in just a second, I'm probably going to have to recall a few of them in and move on to the next set. I'm just trying to take out a few before I have to do that. Just to cut down on our inability to get out of this situation if it becomes hairy. It should not being in the types of ships that we're in, but you just never know. I'm going to go ahead and return my drones now because I don't want to lose any tonight.
I returned my wardens and I am dropping out my hornets.
I am as well because we've got a bunch of little guys just sitting on top of us now. So we want to go ahead and start taking out these little guys. And I've got to wait for them to lock because we've got a bunch here at 10 and 11 that I need to go ahead and start killing. Now I want to make sure to get these off of Gabby, because if he gets stuck, he has the more expensive of the two ships.
The ship is not fit how I normally would fit it. It is a full T2 fit. Normally this ship would have lots of Deadspace mods on it and be very expensive. But even without the Deadspace mods on there, it is still a very expensive ship.
Okay, well, I'm going back to long-range sentries here. I'm going to go ahead and finish taking out this last gun that's up here. And then we're going to go ahead and move on. I do want to give a shout-out to PERW, who just joined us. We're doing a play-by-play because this is basically a tutorial-style mission. We're not doing this to just play. We're doing this to try to help people out. We're actually recording all 5 parts of In the Midst of Deadspace tonight. We're hoping to do this in one full set. There's no guarantee we're actually going to make that happen tonight, but we are going to try. So that's why you're getting a play-by-play on what we're actually doing and how we're doing it. Gabby, we have a request that you say, Houston, we have a problem.
Well, we haven't had any problems yet, but I will say it. Houston, we have a problem.
That's the one nice thing, is this is a very interactive show. If you ask, we will try to answer and oblige. Now, I'm already starting at the frigates that were at extreme range. I'm also still working on the sentry guns that were extreme range. I'm trying to get the frigates out of the way as well at the same time, while Mark's taking care of the ones that are very close to us here.
Anyway, we do have a couple of them that have gotten within my sentry range here.
I do see that now. Let me get my autocannon on him, and we'll see if we can't go ahead and take him some of the way down here. My sentries are starting to take some damage here. Hopefully we don't take too terribly much more damage. Actually, I'm going to have to return mine. I'm just about 3/4 of the way through armor on one. So I might have to let you take out the last of the sentry guns. I'm going to go ahead and pop out some lights here, and we're going to take care of this last little guy that's sitting on top of us.
I am trying to finish up some of these last few that are coming within my minimal range of these guards. What is nice about this is I can either focus fire my missiles and my drones on one target, or as I'm doing right now, I am splitting fire and using my sentries to take out the smaller targets while using my cruise missiles to start taking out battleships.
And I'm going to go ahead and start on the cruisers that are getting close with my sentries, and go ahead and get my guards locked onto the couple that are starting to get in range here, and go ahead and get those knocked off the list. Like I said, a lot of what we're doing is we're just trying to get through these missions as fast as we can with the least amount of damage. And that's pretty much how we try to make sure that we're getting through all of these missions. It does not always happen that way. We are trying to make sure that we are not dying unnecessarily, but there is no guarantee that one of the two of us will not die, or we will not even lose a Tech 2 drone.
Yes, you never know what could happen in here. I actually just a couple of weeks ago lost a T2 frigate in about 3.5 seconds in a level 4 mission.
Okay, well, I gotta switch my guards over to something that they can actually hit, because right now they are not able to hit much of anything. I think as soon as you get that last sentry gun out of here, my guards should be safe. I'm still got one taking some pretty heavy damage here. I can't.
There it goes. It's gone. So we're down to 4 battleships.
And I don't think the battleships can actually hit the guards because of their small size. I could be wrong on that. I can't see the damage to mine, but it is still taking damage. So I'm going to go ahead and return those up for just a second here.
I have 2 of them hitting me, and the other 2 are just sitting there. I cannot tell who they're targeting or what they're targeting. I only know which ones are have me targeted and are aggressing me.
So what I've done is I've launched my medium drones. And I'm going to go ahead and just send them out to amplify some damage of his cruise missiles on the one that was closest to us. They're going to do a decent amount of damage just due to the bonuses from this ship. At their current speed and velocity, they should take almost no damage, even if they do happen to get targeted, because they are so close to these battleships.
you explain the watch list yet?
Nope, have not gone through that yet.
They should be able to see some damage on my shield. I've lost about 15% of them, which could or could not be a lot, depending on how many hit points you have. I have a maximum on this ship of close to 30,000, so 15% is not an extreme amount.
No, and the watch list, what that does is the very first one here on the left shows you the shields, the one in the middle shows you the armor, and the one on the end shows you the structure. If you ever see anyone get into the third one, they either need to be warping or prepared to buy a new ship, because that's what's going to happen.
Ships like mine, RattleSnakes and Caldari ships, Minmatar ships are the same way. If they are shield tank ships, as soon as their shields are gone, or even before then, as soon as their shields are down to about 20%, they need to be leaving fast. Their armor will not hold for very long once the shield's gone.
That is the one nice thing that Galente has, and the reason that we fly pirate faction ones is because they give you a mix of both. You get a mix of multiple skills, and because you get that, you get the availability of being able to have some of the best of both worlds. And because of that, it allows you to last a little bit longer in that fight. The particular ship that I'm in is a Tech 2 heavy assault cruiser. Because of that, I have extremely high resistances. So we're just trying to use really high-end ships. At some point, we can pull out our Gilas. They are also a cross between Caldari and Galente. They are a heavily shield-tanked, but they are a cruiser size, so they would not take near as much damage from the battleships either. But on the flip side of that, they are small, so they do not have near the shields that the RattleSnake does. So you kind of just play that by ear. If you're just getting into the game and you're trying to make sure that you can survive very, very well, a Gila does not take that long to get into. All you need to train up in all basic reality is you need to have Caldari Cruiser at 3 and you need to have Galente Cruiser at 3. When you are at those 2 points, you should be able to fit a fairly decent tank on that ship and go into most level 3s and 4s and still survive. Not saying you won't have to warp off, but you should be able to survive.
But on the Gila, the RattleSnake, and the Worm, which is the frigate version of this pirate class, you do have to make sure that you have fairly decent drone skills, because about 80% of my damage comes from my drones.
That's correct. The ship that I'm in is the exact same way. Over 90% of my damage is actually from my drones. This current fitting does a little over 770 DPS, but I do not have the range that the battleship has. The battleship has more highs and mids, so they can load more things to make their drones go further. Now, the bonuses that we're both receiving towards our drones are actually the same. We are getting the exact same bonuses.
With the current setup that I'm using now, I am doing 820 DPS. 175 of that is from my missiles alone, though. My drone control range is about 80 kilometers, where you would normally be at 40. So you have to keep that in mind. Actually, your normal drone control range would be 45.
There are some extra skills you can train to boost that even further, but we're not going to get into that tonight. Now, as you can see, if you look at my mission window that I have open and running, we have the green check mark beside the objective. We have now officially destroyed everything that was here, and now we're going to pick up the cargo container that has our 50 light marines in it. I do hope that I have enough storage space to hold that. Yep, I'll be okay. I should be able to hold that just fine. And then we'll be able to go turn this one in. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my salvaging ship after we turn it in, and I'm going to jump back out here and go ahead and get this taken care of. Oh, we just got our first tick. Let's see how bad we did. We didn't get anything besides 245,000 IFT. Now that is split between me and Gabby16 because we are in a fleet. Therefore, that is split evenly between us. Some of that also goes to our corporation in the form of tax, which is 24,500 or 10% because that is how our tax rate is set. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is that we didn't get the big payout we got last night. And that is because this is what we call a tag mission. This is a mission that you get paid with in tags. Those tags are what are actually worth your money.
Yeah.
Now, Gabby, if you want, you can either stay out here or you can dock up. It is your choice, but I do have to dock.
One thing about these tag missions is you are going against factions, meaning that your faction standings for whichever faction you are going against will drop. Keep that in mind because that will affect where you can go in the EVE universe. My Amarr faction standings are so low because of missions like this that I am actually a kill on sight as soon as I enter Amarr space. So you do have to keep that in mind when running these missions.
Now, there's a very funny story behind that. We got to find that out firsthand. When we tried our first hand at a wormhole, we had to go through Amarr space, and I was flying an Orca, and he was also flying...
I was in an Orca as well.
I think he was in an Orca too, and he was being shot at every gate as he was trying to warp away, where I was doing okay. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this one in here and complete it. And we're going to go ahead and split this between us. And that way we both get some payout on that, which means I only get half of the 1.2 million bonus. I only get half of the 920,000 payout. And I only get half of the loyalty points. That is the only fair way to really do this. If you're doing your missions and you're having people help you and you're not splitting that, you're not being fair to the other people that are helping you get through that. Now, there are exceptions to that, and the biggest exception to that is going to be when they tell you, when the person just pops up and says, hey, I don't need any of that, then it's perfectly fine to do it the other way. But as a general rule of thumb, if you have extra people out with you, you need to make sure that you're splitting that evenly. Yes, you don't make as much, but you do have help, so you should be able to get through things faster, and that's what you're really going for. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to our first salvage spot, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up what's out there because we do need the tags to make this actually pay something. That helps to pay for our fuel cost, our ammunition cost, not fuel cost. Because we are both shooting live fire ammo, we do have to replace that. You can either do that in one of two ways. You can either buy it off the open market, or you can buy the blueprints, and you can actually produce your own ammo at either a station or a personally owned station. Those are typically reserved for corporations. You can put them in anything from -1 clear up to a positive 0.7. You cannot put passes in 0.8, 0.9, or 1.0.
There is one other exception to not paying out, and that is if you give the salvage to them. There are some people that will run the mission and say they just want the salvage items. A lot of times they will give you the loot. All they want is just the salvaged items.
Are there still wrecks beside you?
I just left, but yes, there was.
I think they all popped the moment you left.
They should stay for 2 to 2.5 hours.
Yep, in the first one we had absolutely no salvage. So we're going to have to see what's going on here. Oh, our second one does still have salvage, so we must have taken too long, would be my guess, on that one.
Unless somebody came in and did what's called ninja salvaging,
And
where
that
they fly in and steal your salvage.
And that is quite possible as well. So we're going to go ahead and just jump in here and get this taken care of. However, I do not see any ships in this area, but since I closed the gates, they may not be able to get to the last two rooms. Luckily, our last room is the one that has most everything in it that we actually need, and that's going to be a lifesaver for the money that we need to make out of this. As you can see, I did not launch my drones correctly again tonight. I am being very negligible and making this take much longer than it should. So I'm going to go ahead and just get them started so we can get through this.
Unfortunately, one of the things you do have to watch with salvage drones is you do have to launch them and start them salvaging before you lock any of the wrecks. If you lock the wrecks first, then they will just salvage whatever wreck you have locked and then stop. It is an unfortunate thing that needs to be fixed. If it will be fixed, we don't know. When, we don't know. It's just something that we have complained about.
And the first round of this did very, very well. We don't seem to be having any problems picking anything up. We still made some decent money. It does not look like anybody got out here to this particular section of space before we did. Now, hopefully, there is no one in the last room, but however, our spot 1, as far as I can tell, is empty because someone has already been in it. We did not take the 2 hours that would have been required for those wrecks to pop, so it is very, very odd that they would already be gone unless someone was taking that loot.
Now, if somebody does steal the loot in your mission, they will be globally flagged as suspicious and can be shot by anyone. They will have a 15-minute timer put on them, and you will see a black box with an orange skull flashing on their name. So anybody in local, you will see that with. I've scanned through local. I don't see anybody with it. So if there was somebody who did come in, they left system because they are not on the local chat.
Hello, Ron D. Want to welcome you to the chat tonight. Hope you enjoy the view. We're just cleaning up after the first mission here, and then we're going to go ahead and get working on the next one. I'm going to go ahead and launch my drones and get them salvaging, hopefully before this first one gets locked. If not, they're just going to go to it, and then I will move on to the next one. And it looks like I did not make it in time, so I'm just going to unlock that one, and we're going to retell them to just salvage, and they should just pick a target at random and continue on as I go ahead and start bringing everything back in towards myself.
They will actually not pick at random. They actually work from closest to farthest. So if you send them out, they will pick the closest wreck to you. If you are using a Noctis and tractoring them in, then the next wreck that is closest to you, they will then move to. So they will go from closest to farthest up until their drone control range has been reached.
And Ron D's saying he's seeking our wonderful wisdom for the evening. So I hope that we can give you some pointers that'll help you out in your own gameplay. We're not going to make any guarantees that what we say are actually going to help you, but we will try to give you some pointers that are going to be beneficial.
Yeah, we have been playing Eve for some years now. This character that I am on is 7 years old, coming next month. So we have been around for a while. I actually had a character that was older than this, but I had sold the account off. So this is my oldest current account, and I do have 2 others that I play on as well.
Now, this is also my oldest account that I'm currently on. He's just a hair over 6.5 years old, just a little bit younger than Gabby. We have, like you said, we've been running in this for quite some time. This is not our first rodeo when it comes to doing this kind of stuff. We're very used to the Ninja Salvagers. We don't like them any more than anybody else, but however, it is the game. You don't get a lot of choice in that matter. They are going to come whether you want them to or not, and they are going to take your loot. The only thing that you can do is you can try to make sure that either you have someone else in your fleet that is coming along behind you and scooping everything up as you're getting through the rooms, which we have done on occasion, or then we want to just not worry about it and just let the salvage go. On the level 4s, we try not to do the latter. Rodney's asking whether or not a Thrasher can be able to grind level 3 missions in Deadspace. That's a good question. I actually have not looked at the Thrasher in a while, so let me pull up its specs real quick.
I haven't either. I've looked at the Demos, which is the T2 heavy assault cruiser version of it, but I have not looked at a Thrasher in quite a while.
The Thrasher is considered a destroyer, so let's look at its armor and hit points and shields. Now, in a level 3, you really need to be...
Cruiser.
It's actually a destroyer. It only has 750, 750, and 800. It would be pretty hard-pressed to grind through level 3s as a destroyer. It would be very well suited for level 2s and level 1s. Level 3s are probably going to be just a hair bit out of its range, unless you are blitzing them. Now, if you are blitzing your level 3s and you're not actually doing it for the kills, then you would probably be doing just fine. You would fit it with a high-end afterburner to give yourself a good chunk of speed. Once you had that, then you would just blitz through killing the one and only ship that you would need to kill, or picking up the only items you would need to pick up. However, I would not recommend it unless you have quite a bit of ISK sitting in your wallet, and you can afford to lose 3 or 4 of them if that so happens.
They are a fairly inexpensive ship, being at approximately $1 million a piece for the hull, but then you also have all your fittings on top of that. You would almost just be better off running the level 2s with it and then moving up to a cruiser for the level 3s.
I would actually say I would skip even cruisers and I would go straight to a battle cruiser. They do not take that long to train, and you get quite a bit more bonus out of them. I, for the longest time, ran level 3s and level 4s in a Brutix with nano rigs to increase the amount of repair that I was receiving with my hardeners, and I was able to do that quite easily. If you're still having a hard time with level 2s in your Thrasher, you need to take a real hard look at whether or not you're armor tanking, you're shield tanking it, or if you're just a crazy Eve player, you're structure tanking it.
Which people do.
There are people out there who think structure tanking is the most awesome thing in the world. I would not be one of those players. You're doing active shield tanking. Okay. Let's take a look at your resistances here. Your resistances are decent, so you're going to be primarily needing to tank in Deadspace for kinetic and thermal damage. Kinetic being your highest, thermal being your second highest. So if you're active, let me see how many highs you have on this particular one, or how many mids. You have 2 mids. So that gets
tanking a little more difficult.
Yeah, it makes it actually quite a bit more difficult. You would probably be best off to use an invulnerability field 1 or 2 if you can fit it, and then a shield extender, whichever size that you can actually squeeze in, and then a small shield repper if you're going to go active. And then in your lows, you would want to do something for capacitor recharge rate. The biggest thing you're going to run into with active tanking a ship like that is you're going to run out of cap.
If you like running destroyers and you have skills for missiles, I would suggest using the Talwar, which is the other Minmatar destroyer. You have 7 highs for 7 launchers, so you can load that up with rockets and do some massive damage. You also have 3 mids and 3 lows, so it gives you a little bit more for a tank and a little bit more in your lows for any support items.
Speed tanking is a very good way to go. It is actually how you will see most of my frigate fits. If you were on 3 days ago watching my feeds, and if you weren't, you can go back and take a look at the videos that are out on either my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/user/acidhacks here. You can also get that link out of my profile page, or you can take a look at those exact same videos here on Twitch. Just depends on which one's faster for you, and you'll actually get some views of a speed tank. Now, speed tanks are very handy when you're running Tech 2 frigates or Tech 2 destroyers. The reason for that is that they then allow you to keep more transversal between you and the things shooting at you. It also keeps your speed up to where that the tracking of whatever is shooting at you is not hitting you near as hard.
They are very, very, very susceptible to being webbed, though. I lost a $45 million T2 interceptor about 2 weeks ago because I jumped it into a level 4 to clean up frigates. Unknowingly, they all had webs, and my 5K a second was dropped down to about 300 meters a second, which made my speed tank useless. Needless to say, my ship disintegrated in about 3.5 seconds. So you really need to be careful when speed tanking.
You need to make sure that if you're speed tanking, that you are either speed tanking directly on top of whatever you're going to shoot at, or you are speed tanking with the ability to be able to get away very, very quickly. When you see a frigate that is listed as a number 2 beside it, that is probably the time for you to either warp away and then come back so you can target it directly and get on top of it, or it is time to very quickly finish whatever you need to do and get out before they can web you. I want to give a shout out to Who is Priest. Welcome to the channel tonight. We're just going through helping Ron D with his destroyer questions that he's posting here in the chat. Now I'm going to go back to our salvage. We've went ahead and picked up the 2 rooms that were left. We did have 1 room that got ninja salvaged. Like I said, that's just kind of how that goes. We ended up pulling $19.8 million in salvage. That is where our money came from on this mission. The actual payout was not very high, being just a hair under $2 million for 2 people. That's only $1 million each. So if we were to split this loot, we would each make about $10 million for that mission. Now that is fairly average when you're doing this with multiple people, to make about that. Now, if you bring that up to 3 or 4 people, obviously that's going to continue to go down. But in reality, you should be able to make that balance by having 1 person as a dedicated salvager and them taking their cut out of the salvage instead of out of the bounty payouts. Now, the only people who get bounty payouts are the people who are currently in the room when you're killing things. If they are not in the room, they do not receive the payout. So if you have somebody with you and they're hanging back in the station and you go ahead and start, you are then taking that bounty for yourself. They do not get a share of that. That is one thing to watch out for if you're running with somebody who says, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start, and you're not quite ready. Just let them know that you'll be ready in a few minutes and ask them to wait. That will help make sure that you are all getting an even share.
It also balances out with the more people you have. Even though it may be less of a payout, you will get more due to the fact that you'll be able to run the missions a lot faster.
Yeah, and in a lot of this, it's more about speed than it is what you're actually making. I'm going ahead and switching back to my other ship here. And we're going to go ahead and see what the next mission here is.
If I remember right, it is a courier.
This is the courier mission, so this is where I have to fly a few jumps away and I have to deliver the Marines that I just picked up. So I'm going to go ahead and set destination and then accept this. And if I look in my item hanger, I will find those Marines that I just picked up a minute ago. Now, because I have a whole bunch of stuff in here already from the things that we just picked up, I do have to dig for just a minute and find them, except I know what the quantity is. There are 50 Marines. So I can sort this by quantity, and I can go down and find the 50, and there are my Marines. Just throw those in my cargo hold, and then we'll go ahead and undock and get moving right along to complete this. Now, I'm not going to bring up the mission window on this one because there's not much of a point on that, because once I get to the station I'm supposed to be at, I'm just going to click complete mission, and then I will be flying back. And then we'll start part 3. I'm going to switch to my Gates tab here again. I do have a special setup Gates tab just for this. I also use my first tab, which is my default tab, for depending on what I'm doing. If I'm salvaging, then I will set that to the default loot tab. That shows all wrecks and all cans, and that makes your ability to salvage much faster without having to change all your tabs around. When you're missioning, I typically have a ships tab, and that ships tab will have all of the ones that are there for all of the ships that are currently in that area of space, be it friendly or be it enemy. Now, as you've seen in the last couple of days, I don't have that set up right now. I do need to get that reloaded so that it is working correctly. I just have not taken the time to do that. I've been slowly adding them as we go. Now, Ron D saying that his is called jumping. That is a very good thing to call it. I tend to just use the actual name of whatever it is that I'm going for. If it's loot, then it's loot, or if it's salvage, then it's salvage. Both of those are the exact same thing, so you can use either one without any real problem. It's just in your ability to know what you're looking at. I've been playing long enough that I've heard the word gate so many times. It's just a very easy descriptor that is very strong in my mind. When I look at it, I know exactly what that is. Because in low-sec, for example, jumping might not necessarily mean a gate. You may be jumping to a 0-point spot that is out in front of the station, or you might be jumping to a safe spot, and then that would be something a little bit different.
You might also be capital jumping, where you are going 14 light years across multiple systems, so you do have to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, so it's not that we're saying you're wrong in naming it that way. As long as you stay in high sec, you're probably never going to have a problem with that. If you do happen to go to low sec, you might notice some issues that you would want to change that for. Most of your corporations that you're going to join in low sec are going to have some kind of default that they will give you or show you. If you just moved back from null to high, which alliance were you in? We were in the Space Monkeys when we were out there just a few months ago.
Yep.
And Eric says we're all just a bunch of nerds. Well, Eric, I have games that I'm really good at, and you have games you're really good at. This is one that I have spreadsheets for. Oh, you remember a BCA? I think we were at war with you for a while. Now, you would not have seen either one of my characters out on the battlefield if you were an actual PvPer. Most of my accounts are for PvE, or they are for Industrial. My other account, which I do not have online right now, and you probably won't see in the feeds unless I'm doing something on Industrial, is a maxed out Leadership and a maxed out Industrial. So here we are. I'm going to go ahead and dock up at the station now and get these turned in.
And I think we will be having a little bit of fun later on, because this is, I'm remembering right, Part 4, we get to go against a really tough battleship that does massive EM damage. And considering I am shield tank, EM is my weakest.
Do you still happen to have heavies on with you?
Yes, I do have 5 Ogre 2s.
Okay, you will need those when we get to that point, because when you jump in, you immediately launch those. Lock him, ignore the 2 drones that fly at you, and just pop him.
Yeah, because those are just web drones. They don't do any damage, so...
Now we've gone ahead and completed this one, so now I'm going to go ahead and set my way back here. And I'm actually going to step away for a minute. I need to go take a bio break. Mark, if you need to take one, now would be a good time.
All right, sounds good.
We'll be right back in just a second, guys. Okay, guys, I'm back. Let's keep jumping here. I'm still about 2 jumps away. As you can see, I already have the 3rd mission listed up here. It's going to pay a cybernetic sub-processor so long as we can complete it. Now, it does give an Imperial Navy gate permit.
Yes, this one uses a gate permit, doesn't it?
Yep, this one does use a gate permit, so we will need to get a 2nd gate permit.
I can be right on your tail as soon as you activate the gate. I have 10 seconds to activate the gate and get in there. Fortunately, if I have to warp out for any reason, I will not be able to get back in. So we will just hope that doesn't happen.
Yep, we're gonna the part 4 is the one that we're actually concerned with. Part 5 we're not near as concerned with. But part 4 we are. Ron D's saying that he's got to sign off for the night. Hey, fly safe, man, and don't get in too much trouble. And we hope to see you again.
Take care, Ron. All right.
I'm 1 jump out, and then I should be back.
Ah, there is our ninja salvager.
Did you find him?
Yes. I see his flashing orange skull on local.
Oh, look at that. You should ask him if it was worth it, and then shoot him.
Well, he is in a Tristan. Oh, he just left.
Oh, man.
Just outside the station, too, right as I undocked.
Means he's scanning down with something and flying out in a very cheap ship. And that's kind of how these ninja salvagers go. But since they do know I'm broadcasting, they do know there will be some wrecks in this vicinity, so scanning them down would not take a whole lot of effort. The one nice thing about this one is it does require an Imperial Navy gate permit to get into any of these, so I know that he will not be in these. unless he manages to go buy one from somebody who canceled the mission. Okay, now that I'm back, I'm going to go ahead and dock up here, and then we're going to get this mission accepted, and then we're going to go ahead and start moving on to the next section.
Now, one of the things you do have to watch out for in missions, especially in large systems where missioning is very popular, because there are a good number of agents or there are lots of good level 4 missions there, is people trying to bait you. What they will do is they will fly in, they will steal a piece of loot out of one of your wrecks in hopes that you will shoot them. One of my wonderful tactics is if I know the triggers for the rooms for additional spawns, I will actually hit all of those and then warp out, leaving them to grab all of the aggro from every ship in the room.
Yeah, that's a very good maneuver. I've actually lost 1 or 2 RattleSnakes to people like that, thinking that I could quickly destroy them, to find out that they had an exceedingly good speed tank fit. And when they do that, it makes it very, very difficult to kill, especially since you don't know whether or not they have orcas or something else running. I want to welcome Fruby Noob 123 to the room, and we also have the Visco in with us tonight. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. If you have any comments, feel free to ask. Or if you have anything you'd like to say, hey, we'll shout it out for you. You can also hit us up on Twitter at hashtag CTV99Live. If you do that, it will actually show up on the screen with your message. So here we are. I'm going to go ahead and accept this one. I do have to remember to pick up that Imperial Navy gate permit. Actually, I take that back. We have to go get the gate permit. The number 4, we have to have the gate permit. This is the one where we are just going to pick it up. And that is here local. So we're going to go ahead and undock. And we're going to go ahead and start the warp that direction. Gabby, I assume you're already in space?
Yes, I am.
And away we go. As we're flying here, I'm going to go ahead and clear out my spot 1, 2, and 3 from my salvage. And we're going to go ahead and make those go away. Because now they are no longer valid, because we have already gone through them. Now, it did not take time to repair my sentries. I probably should have, as we stopped there. I should be okay. This is a very quick run through on this one, so it should not be a ton of damage headed our way. This is another gated community, so we should get to the gate, and then we'll wait for Gabby. Now, I did put a 16K out, so that is going to take just a couple of seconds here for him to get over there.
He does that.
While we're waiting here, I'm going to...
First 2 pockets should be empty because we have cleared them out on the last mission. So we should not have anything until the 3rd. But we will still have to fly those extreme distances, the 40K or so, after we get into the first room to the next gate.
That is just kind of how the way that goes. Gabby's not too far behind us here, so he should be up here in just a second.
Hook a toe strap onto your Ishtar there and just have you pull me along.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not a tugboat.
Yeah, fitting an afterburner was not such a detriment to this passive tank that I have. I would definitely fit it.
Yeah, afterburners are very good things when you're running these kind of missions just to try to speed them along. We're on part 3 of 5 in just under an hour, and that is not moving along exceedingly quickly, but it's also not moving along exceedingly slowly either. As we can see, Gabby's already activated the gate, so we're going to go ahead and go in as well. And then if we get lucky, maybe we'll see our ninja salvager and watch him take some of our loot. Or maybe he's already been in here and started killing things. That would be amazing. So now, because this is part 3, we just get to fly through the gates. There's not going to be anything here, at least for the first 2 rooms. It might even possibly be the 3rd, and then we're going to have to fly that 84K to the 4th room. And that, my dear friends, is going to take forever.
Well, on the 3rd part here, you will have to, because I'm sure not, going to fly the 90K to the force field that has to be blown up in order to get your gate permit.
Yep, I will take care of flying that direction, but hopefully, because we have very long-range sentries on us, we might be able to just fly 15 or 20K in, drop our sentries, and then start destroying it. We both have extra damage on our sentries, so we should be able to take it out without actually having to get too close. Now, however, we will still have to fly clear out there to pick up what is there. However, I will do that when I am salvaging. Well, no, I won't do that while we're salvaging, because it would take way too long. I will just have to fly out there and just take care of it.
Well, luckily, you fly faster than me.
Just barely.
Barely, you're double my speed.
I still consider that just barely. And you're double the speed of my Thanatos, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, just be lucky I'm not in a dreadnought.
Yeah, no joke. I've got one of those too, and they are extremely slow. Apparently we got some funny guys in local. We have Party on the APOC. Yeah, baby, yeah. Not real sure what he's referring to there, but I'm sure it's a song that I would not want to hear.
There was an Imperial Navy APOC off of the station when we left. So there was also a couple of other T2 ships there. There was a Vulture, and I don't remember what the other one was that was flying around it. There were a few very expensive ships out.
Well, we're not exactly flying Cuisinauts.
Yes, but when you see ships like that and you do have ninja salvagers out, they might be their backup in case you shoot them. So you do have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, you just want to make sure you're not doing something stupid. If they take your salvage, they take your salvage. It's not that big a deal. You can always run another mission and get more. It's something where you have to make the choice of whether or not losing your ship is worth the risk. 99.9% of the time, that answer is going to be no. It is not worth the risk unless you are just loaded in ISK.
Especially if you're flying a ship that's like mine, where the 19, 20, 25 million ISK you lose in all the salvage and loot is not worth the 1 billion you would lose if you lost the ship.
Yep, and even the little ship I'm flying is about the same problem. I come in just a hair under a billion ISK on this fit, so losing it would not be something that I would be willing to risk. If they come in, I'm going to be more willing to risk them getting shot by me leaving. It'll be a whole lot funnier to fly back in and salvage their wreck when they're dead.
I do not want to risk them popping my pod neither, because the clone that I am currently in actually has Sancha implants, which are not cheap.
I don't happen to have any implants in this clone that are that bad besides my +5s. The rest of what I have in this clone is fairly simple. Actually, I don't even know that I have any damage or repping mods in this particular clone. So you're almost up to the gate here, and then the next gate's a little bit closer.
Thankfully.
Yeah, I think it was only about 10k away, and then we should be able to get to that third room. Need to go ahead and bring up the mission here so we can see it.
Okay, gate's finally active.
And I'm starting my activation of the same gate, and away we shall go.
All right, Speedy.
Well, we could always do the porn edition of Eve, but we need to make this PG-13 if we can. Rated X is reserved for low sec. In low sec, there are quite a bit of X-rated images out there that will keep you entertained.
And lo and behold, that is, no matter what anybody else says, a legitimate strategy for fighting. And it does happen quite often where you post those images in local in order to try to distract your opponent, therefore being able to destroy them because they misfire their weapons or forget to activate a module.
Yeah, they misfire all of their weapons, not just one. As Eric's saying on here, EVE Online Porn Edition would be a wonderful way to boost my views. That would be extremely funny. However, I think it would break a few terms of services when I uploaded that. So he's activated the gate, so I'm going to go ahead and go on in here. Going to put me as the first one in here. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my ship's view, and we've already got ships in. So this is the last room that we have to get to from the looks of it.
They are all much right here where the bubble that we have to destroy is 95k above me.
So I'm going to go ahead and launch drones, and I'm going to start taking out these frigates that are going to be coming in hard and heavy. And then we're going to work on that other facility.
Because CTV is in a cruiser and I am in a battleship, it takes me almost 20 seconds, even with skills and fleet bonuses, to lock a frigate.
And it would have helped had I actually launched the correct sentries. I launched guards, so they were not able to hit anything.
I did launch wardens, but they were within guard range by the time I finally got to lock something.
We've already taken out almost all of the frigates already. We've only got 2 remaining at this point, and we're going to go ahead and pop those real quick, and then we're going to move on to the cruisers, and then we'll worry about the shield. At this point, the biggest thing that we want to take out is we want to take out any incoming damage that might be causing our problem. Can you go ahead and take out that last frigate, or do you not have it locked?
I have it locked, but it is too close to have wardens on, so I want to drop wardens.
Nope, I got him. You keep working on the stuff coming in. I will take care of this guy.
Now that I finally have 2 free locks, I can lock up those battleships and actually start sending out my cruise missiles.
At this point, we've almost got that last frigate down, and then it'll be time to switch over and get our wardens back out and continue on with killing the cruisers and battleships. Once we are done with that section, then we'll work on the shield array.
If you want them to see something funny, you can actually, I have a warden to my left that is taking shots, or they're at least trying to shoot at it.
Let me do a look at here, and we'll zoom in on him. And as you can see, that's what a warden actually looks like in space. And let's see if we can get that view so when they decide to fire again, we can see him actually get hit.
Well, they might have switched off with him because it appears that not getting shot. Oh, here comes a missile.
Oh, there he got hit. Look at that. Very large EMP blast.
But because it is so small and the missiles they are using are probably heavies or cruise, they do very little damage.
Now I have to switch my view here, and I actually have to look at this Imperial Navy armory, because somewhere in here, right close to it, is going to be a shield generator. And I am, for the life of me, not seeing it tonight.
There it is, EM Force Field. If you have a Buildings tab, it would be under that.
I do not have a Buildings tab, unfortunately. So normally I just get to get up here and look, but for some odd reason tonight, the only thing I can see is the armory. So is it above the armory or below the armory?
Just below the armory.
Just below it.
Now, this force field does rep shields very fast. So we're going to have to take it out quite quick. And there it goes.
Oh, you got it out already before I could even lock it.
Yep, those wardens were doing some damage to it.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and return my drones. Hopefully I get to them before I'm out of range. And it appears that I did not, so I'm going to have to go back and grab those.
Yep, I do not have the room in my cargo hold, or I would just pick them up and then give them back to you at the station.
That's okay. I didn't get very far away, so I'll just get right back there.
And since we have nothing else to shoot at while you fly there, I'm going to take out all the rest of these buildings. We have bunkers, slave pens, prison facilities, and an officer's quarters.
Okay, I apparently did get quite a little ways away from my wardens, which is kind of funny, actually. Well, I'm almost back in range to pick them up. This is the one bad thing about using sentries, is they do not move under any circumstances. The only time that they can be picked up is when they are within range. If they are not within range, you cannot pick them up. And that sometimes is a real pain in the butt. What else is a pain in the butt is now I have lost the facility that I needed to go to. There it is.
Yeah, there it is. So these buildings are popping really quick. They are making a fairly nice explosion.
See if I can zoom in on one of those and at least watch them from a distance here. The booms are one of the things we love to watch in EVE. It is one of the nice things that they did is they actually made the explosions worth watching. The big stations out in low sec, and even some of the ones you have to kill in high sec, make it very, very pretty to watch.
And last building going now.
And as you can see there, Eve is a dynamic universe, so it went all green on us there for a minute from that one explosion, so something in there was causing the universe to change.
I believe that is a nebula that we're actually in the middle of, and it does adjust, changing from green to a yellowish and fading in and out. So as you warp off through different systems, you will actually get to see these nebulas in the distance, and you'll, as we are, can be in the middle of them when you get to the systems that they are very close to. So it is a fully dynamic system, universe, which makes it quite nice.
You just make sure you're not seeing the same image all the time. Back when we first started playing, we did see a lot of the same stuff all the time. Now I'm going to go ahead and save the location on this one, since I don't have to come back through all the gates. I'm just going to save this as my spot 1 again, and then we will just jump back in. I am still about 60k away from this facility. Unfortunately, this is one of the drawbacks of this particular mission set, is that there is a lot of time to get around. Now, Gabby, do you want me to transfer my salvager while I continue to fly this way and let you come back and salvage?
Oh, we can if you want to do that.
I would just kind of speed this up just a hair bit. Let me switch over here and I'll contract that over to you. It does have Tech 2 tractor beams on it. You should be able to run those if I remember right.
No, I don't believe she can. I think, that was the problem with my other account when I transferred her. His Noctis was he couldn't use the tractor beams on it.
Well, then we'll just wait. I'm not going to fret over it. Actually, you know what? I bookmarked all those real close together, and we killed them all. You could probably just warp in and start salvaging.
Well, it's only this one room, so...
Yeah, shouldn't be a big deal. So let me create a contract for that over to you. Now, one thing when you're creating contracts, you always want to make sure that you're doing them private and that you are choosing the correct person to transfer that to. Now, he happens to have a unique name in Eve. There is not any ones with like Gabby16111, so he's the only one out there. So when I create this, it'll just pop up, and when he docks up, he can grab that ship and come back.
Yep, and I just checked my skills. I can use T2 tractors.
Okay.
Yeah, I did take the time to train that skill some time ago. Don't remember when.
That's kind of one of the problems with Eve, is that because everything is actual real-time based, you do have things that way where you can forget because you've trained either so many things or you took so long to train one particular skill that it just took quite a while to get that done.
Yes, I am currently training a skill on one of my other accounts that is 40 days. So.
And that's not 40 in-game days, that's 40 real days. 40 days and 40 nights in your own bed before you'll have that skill train in an online game. That is the one thing that sets Eve apart from most other MMOs, is that grinding does not necessarily get you anywhere. Your skills do not improve from grinding. Your wallet improves from grinding.
Now, you have the bookmark for that. I do not.
Well, just go ahead and fly back through the gates. The afterburner on that one does about 340. So you'll actually go faster than I do, and you'll be back through the gates before I even get here and start warping back.
And there is a very nice fireworks show going on out here off of the station. Apparently somebody attacked the station because all of the station guns were firing at him.
I think that might have been that Imperial APOC.
And yes, you can tank the station guns if you have a well enough set up ship.
Yep, we have done that and tried that. We've popped the merchants that fly around, and in a lot of times they don't drop anything worth the risk. Now, because stations are owned by different people, if you're in a system that has two different styles of stations, you can sometimes fly to one and attack a merchant coming out of it and then immediately redock in another one. It all depends on who the merchant works for and whether or not you are flagged criminal by the whole system. In most cases, you are not flagged criminal.
Yep. If you attack a station or the merchants that come out of the station, most of the time you will only be attacked by the station guns, but you will not be able to dock for 2 minutes because there is an aggression timer that will activate as soon as you fire your weapons. So you will not even be able to dock at any other station around until that timer has expired.
Are you in here already?
I am getting to the first gate now because it dumped me 15K off of it.
Okay, then I can go ahead and head back to dock.
Yep, just don't turn in until I get to the last room.
Yep, you just let me know when you're there. Because I've picked up my stuff, as you can see on the screen, it does have the green check beside the item that I'm required to have, and it does say that I've completed it under the objectives. And I might just stop here outside the station here without docking and take a look around and see if, as I can see here, we have some Concorde ships here that have now come in on top of the station. I do not see any wrecks though, but we'll take a quick look. Nope, we do not have any wrecks out. Here's that APOC Navy issue. We can look at him real quick. Get you a nice view of what he looks like. He is sitting there, and you can see here is the guy that's being shot at. He's in a Corax. He
is one of the new Caldari destroyers.
He is taking a very good beating here from all of the station guns.
Means he must have a really good tank on that ship.
He very much so must.
Will do a decent amount of damage.
He is sitting here just taking a pounding. So this is quite interesting. This is one of the nice things about EVE, is that it's a dynamic universe, so the players do make the content.
One person's choices will change a lot of things for a lot of people.
And apparently it looks like he is actually attacking the station. So because he is attacking the station, they are... Of course, he might be attacking it with fireworks. I have not seen that particular missile fly pattern.
Those are probably rockets. If it's a bunch and...
nope, he was shooting snowballs, according to local. Which is quite funny. We'll go ahead and dock up because it looks like the excitement is over for that. I thought it was kind of cool. That's one of those things you don't get to see every day.
I remember the good old days when you used to be able to use snowballs to actually get somebody concorded.
So, have you made it to that last room yet?
Just going to the second room now. Since it's a short flight to the gate, it won't be but a minute till I'm in that last room.
Now, we still have Part 4 and Part 5. It is starting to approach 10 p.m. my time, so I only have about an hour to an hour and a half remaining. So hopefully we can blow through these last two fairly quickly. Now once he's done, I'll go ahead and accept the next one. and get the permit and get out to the gate. He did not have but about 10 or 12 racks, so it shouldn't take too terribly long once he gets there to get those cleaned up.
It takes me longer to get there than it will to actually get it all cleaned up.
Well, as long as you're not like me and forgetting to turn on the afterburner, you should do just fine.
Ooh, tractor range of only 81 kilometers.
That shouldn't be a huge problem since you should only be about 75 from the furthest rack.
Yeah, but I'm used to 90.
Well, you can't have everything now, can you?
That's one of the things about having multiple accounts is it's kind of confusing on which account can fly what, use what, and be able to use what at whatever distance. So.
Okay, so are you in that final room now?
I just activated the gate. Waiting for this thing to warp.
Well, it's at least faster than your snake.
Yes. Doesn't do the damage.
Nope, unfortunately it is very damageless.
Unless I could salvage a ship to death.
Which I think they should add that at some point, because that would be extremely, extremely funny.
Alright, I'm finally in this final room. Get these drones launched so I can start them, and now I can start locking everything up.
Okay, I just completed that mission. So I'm going to go ahead and request the next one. And it should give us... Yep, we got another one that pays 3,400 loyalty points. It's in the midst of Deadspace 4 of 5 now. In this particular one, we do have site restrictions. We need to see what those ship restrictions are. You could take in a jump freighter. I'm not real sure why you would ever risk a jump freighter, but you could bring one. You can bring battleships, command ships, interdictors. You could even take an exhumer if you so choose. You could take industrial ships. You can even take a shuttle, according to this. So I'm not real sure why it says it has a permitted list. Every ship in the game is in the permitted list.
You can't take a carrier.
Right, but you couldn't do that anyway because this is a 0.9. Carriers are for 0.4 and below.
Yep, but these missions are handed out in low sec where you can fly a carrier, so they do have to have those limitations on there for out in those areas.
I do need to see if they gave me the Imperial Gate permit. They did. I do have to make sure that that is in my cargo hold, or I will not be able to do this mission. It will not allow me through the gates. So I'm going to go ahead and undock, and I am going to head to the first gate, and I will wait there for Gabby to finish and get back and swap ships again. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, I kind of made another mistake. I still have not repaired my drones.
Might want to do that.
I think I'll just do repair here, and we'll choose our Ishtar. And as you can see, it didn't cost very much, just a mere 7,000 ISK. So in the overall grand scheme of things, we are not spending very much money on repairs. I did happen to have 4 sentries that got damaged. None of them damaged enough to really worry about, but they were damaged nonetheless. So I'm going to go ahead and warp to that first location, and we are going to just wait up there. Gabby, how's the salvaging going?
Just waiting for one last can. Probably going to have prisoners or something of that sort in it. Maybe a bunch of janitors. I don't know.
Well, let's hope we get some more strippers. I found 10 the first night I started this feed, and they've been up for grabs ever since. Pantrick just posted at CTV99 Live, I'm awesome! Well, Pantrick, you are, because you actually used my Twitter feed. That is amazing. There are not very many people who have figured out how to do that. So I do appreciate you actually saying something.
All right, I am finally heading back. I didn't get any people, but if you are thirsty, I did get 10 dairy products.
Oh, man, I'm allergic to milk.
Well, I got some oxygen for you, too, and I don't know why, but there was garbage in there as well.
Oh, man, I don't know if I want to drink that milk if it was stored with the garbage.
But we did get 13.7 million in salvage, and there were actually only 38 unique items in that. So
I was looking to see if Pantrick was in local here. I do not happen to see any character name by that. Otherwise, I'd give you a shout out on your character name. But hey, like I said, thanks for using my Twitter. That is very, very cool. You're only the second person that's actually used it.
of course, warping back to the station, it left me 2.5K off of it. And since you have to be within 250 meters before it'll allow you to dock, you just seconds.
Yep, you just got to keep getting right on in there.
Okay. Now, if I can get Scotty, the docking manager, to kick me out here, we will be on our way.
I think you forgot they killed Scotty off. They've automated him.
Yeah, I do have one of his clones, so...
I think I have a couple of them. Scotty was a very nice guy. Too bad they killed him off.
I want to resurrect his clone and get him back to work.
That's right, because it was a whole lot more fun to listen to him than it was the absolute nothingness that we have now. Scotty telling you to shut up and wait because he's not done yet was always a treat.
Always had paperwork to file.
That's it. At least you always knew he was doing something.
Guess I better reload my launchers here.
Are you in warp yet?
Yep, should be landing any second now.
It landed us directly on top. It landed me at least directly on top of the gate.
I just warped to you, so I cannot warp to the mission area.
I'm going to go ahead. Have you come out of warp?
Yep.
Okay.
I have to wait for you to activate.
I activated the gate, so you've got your 10 seconds.
Okay. And there I go.
And in the very first room, we already have people, which is very, very nice. I do like to see people right away. And the gate happens to be just 6K off, so we are going to be very close. And when you come in, you need to drop guards or frigates or lights. Take your pick.
Lights, because everything is within 30.
I am dropping lights as well, just to get started here. So we're going to go ahead and engage. I'm also going to fire my gun and hope that I take the aggro instead of my drones. He does look like I at least got the aggro on 1, 2, 3. It looks like I'm getting about 10 of them to aggro me, which is good.
I set my drones to guard you, so anybody shooting you will get shot by them. I will start locking up battleships and get cruise missiles on them.
We're just starting to pound through the frigates here, as you can see. They are the first things that we try to take out anytime that we get into any of these kind of missions. Frigates and then cruisers and then battleships, unless you are like Gabby and you are running a battleship that has plenty of... Oh, I just lost a drone.
Ooh.
That makes my day even better.
I need to repair drones when we get back because I have 2 in armor now.
Okay, I went ahead and just returned mine, and I'm just going to drop out short-range sentries, and I am going to start shooting these guys out of the sky here.
Yep, I have another one that's about to go into armor. So as soon as this last frigate here that's close up is dead, I will be recalling these.
Now that is the one thing you do run into with any of these kind of missions, is you can lose drones. It is 110% likely.
And I lost one on its way back to my ship.
Yep, and that does happen. There is not an easy way to make sure that you are not going to lose drones, besides just paying very, very close attention to them. And that is not always possible. If you're in the middle of a fairly heated battle, you are probably not going to stop and go, oh crap, I got to get my drone in.
No, but these Imperial security captains are literally on top of us, so I'm going to throw out Ogre 2s, which should decimate these guys. Heavy drones.
I'm having to return my guards here because I'm already taking some heavy damage. I'm going to relaunch my lights, and I am going to go after this one guy that is 7k off of us, this Imperial Guard. I want to give a shout out to T.O. Fox. Welcome to the room. Welcome, D-Man.
And if you have this security captain locked up, they'll be able to see how fast these ogres are taking him out.
Let me get him locked up here.
You'll have to hurry.
I just did, and he just went boom. I'm going to try to get my sentries back out here and see if I can't get onto these last two cruisers that are here. I am, however, having a hard time hitting them right now.
I just broadcast my next target, so if you saw that, my ogres are on their way to him now.
I'm trying to just lock up everybody that's left right now. I can see that they are starting to pound through him quite well. I'm taking out that last security officer that should be the one hitting. D-Man is in the chat here making fun of Eric, which is kind of funny. I'll give a shout out here to Wormus. He's in the room with us tonight too. You guys are more than welcome to use my live Twitter feed. You can tweet me at hashtag CTV99Live, and your message will show up in the live feed. The only thing that I request is you try not to do anything explicit, just so that we're not breaking anybody's rules. Now you can see he's taking out the Imperial Security Commander, and my sentries are working on the Imperial Security Captain. And I'm pretty much keeping pace with his ogres at a much further range. His ogres actually had to fly within range of that ship to actually shoot, where I am not. Wormus is just telling me he's not a tweeter. That's okay. I'm not a tweeter either. The first time I heard of Twitter, I thought I was just going to sit on the toilet and tweet, I am taking a dump, because I could not figure out what it was good for. This is actually the first time that I have ever figured out something that makes sense to use Twitter for. And now we just got a live tweet saying that Pantrick loves DC Eric. And I almost lost another guard too just in that maneuver. So they are really starting to hammer drones tonight. So okay, I'm going to go ahead and bookmark this location.
Yep, I will have to hope that they have some Hornet 2s in station, because all of my extras are actually in another station. So
if we happen to not have any more, then we might just have to finish this off on another day. But at this point, I think we're about halfway through this one. I'm trying to remember, though, Gabby, is it this one or is it the very next one that has the very large ship in it?
It is this one. It is part 4 that has it. I can't remember if it is the room that we're headed to now or if it's the one after that, though.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you go in first, since it did seem to activate the gate for you.
Yeah, only the first gate is locked, which helps against ninja salvagers in this case, unless they are carrying a gate permit.
Yep, unless they are carrying a permit. Now, I saw we had another Twitter message come through. I'm going to read it off here in just a second.
It is this room, and he is 50k off of me, so I will have to drop guards and hope they can take him out fairly quickly.
Pantrick says, D-Man player 723 doesn't know how to play video games. Very well. I don't know about that. He might be a fairly decent player. You never really know. Okay, while we're here and he's already taking damage, we're going to give him some assistance. As soon as I can land here, we're going to drop my guards out. And we're going to go ahead and try to help knock this guy out. This guy has a very, very large tank on him, which makes him very difficult to kill. It also does not help that he does an extreme amount of damage. He hits very, very hard. You can't tell it.
Yeah, it may not look like it on my ship because I do have 30,000 hit points and shields, but he has already taken out almost 10% of that just in the first few volleys. And most of his hits are either glancing or missing completely.
Yep. Now we have him in half armor already. He is starting to go down quite quickly. However, I am still missing him about half of the time.
Yeah, I'm only hitting with 2 or 3 guards every volley as well, so not going down extremely fast. And there he finally went.
Yes, D-Man player, I do actually remember you. I would not say that you were playing horribly when we were playing. You were just playing at your level. So we're running through here, and we've got a few ships left, and we've got some sentry guns left. So far, none of the sentries are taking damage. I happen to be locked up by 2 of the people. The 2 ships are locked directly onto me. They're not doing much damage right now. I do not know who has the sentry guns locked on them.
They are on me, and they are not doing a whole lot, 25 to 50 a shot, so they're pretty much just piddly damage for me. Nothing major there. I do have my guards hitting one of them, and I'm now shooting cruise missiles at another one. Try to take out a couple of them at a time, make it go a little faster.
Okay, I went ahead and bookmarked this one as well. D-Man player says now he's going to unfollow me. Well, that's okay. That's your choice, man. It's just kind of how this thing goes. I'm not really going to fret over it too terribly much. I'm just here to put on a good show and show you guys how we like to run games and try to give you some pointers if you're actually playing EVE Online.
This game can be very confusing, especially for new players. So a lot of times little tutorial videos like this are really helpful.
And we're now done with this one, so we're going to go ahead and recall in our drones. We're both sitting on top of the gate, but I'm still going to let Gabby go first just to get started.
This gate is not active until the next part.
Is that what this one is? Okay, so then we would be done if I had my mission log up, which I neglected to bring up this time. So if we look here, fly to the second complex, read the transmission, follow his orders, and then return back to the station.
Do we not have to shoot the Stargate on this one?
I think we might have to actually kill the Stargate. I'm trying to see what it says. I think it might say kill the Stargate. I didn't read the transmission, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and launch out our long-range sentries here, and we're just going to start shooting this gate here.
Yep, I've got cruise missiles out, and there goes shields and armor in the first volley.
Yep. Now the hard part is going to be getting through the structure. That will take us a little bit of time. However, our sentries are going to do quite a bit of damage. For those of you guys thinking that Stargate is awesome, this is how they make a Stargate look in EVE. I don't know that I can actually get close enough to show you because for some odd reason it will not let me look at it. Oh, there we go. Now I can look at it.
Yeah, I just zoomed right in on it.
This is how they do Stargates in Eve. They do look very similar to the show Stargate. However, there are not the little symbols in there. They are just colored lights.
Yep. And different races, faction areas have different Stargates. You will see 2 or 3 different types of Stargates in each corner of the Eve universe. So there are many different types. This is one of the Amarr Stargates that you can see here,
which happens to be one of the 4 races in Eve. I currently, on this account, am primarily Galente. I also have a little bit of Minmatar training on this account. Gabby, which ones are you raced on?
Well, this is a Amarr subclass. It is actually Canid, but I am classed for Amarr, frigate through battleship, T2 through almost all of that, Caldari, and also Galente. My Galente, I can only fly T1 ships, but I am only just a few days off of all the T2s. Amarr and Caldari, I can fly almost all of the T2 ships as well.
I'm actually amazed that Stargate's going down as fast as it is. I remember the last time that I ran a mission where we had to blow up a gate, and it took forever.
These gates have about 250 to 400,000 structure hit points. So if that tells you how well the sentry drones hit with these ships and the bonuses they get, now that went down fairly fast.
And that did finally complete the mission, so that was the last thing that we needed for this particular one. So we're going to go ahead and recall our drones. I've already saved this location because it was the second one with any kind of wrecks. And we're going to go back and dock up. And I'm going to pass those over to Gabby and let him come back and clean that up real quick. And then we are going to move on to the next one. So I'm going to warp us both back to the station because I can do that being the squad leader. Of course, it helps if I actually hit the right one.
That's all right. I had already initiated warp on my own and set it to dock, so I'll just dock right up when I get there.
Okay. I will be there just shortly, and I'll give you those bookmarks while I get on to the next one, and we talk about what's going to happen in the last section. This will be part 5 of 5, and this will be the end of what we're going to do tonight.
If you just want to toss those bookmarks into the Corp bookmarks, I will then be able to use them from there since we are in the same Corp.
I can do that. It's going to be called Spot 11 and Spot 12.
Okay.
You should see them in there now.
Well, I can't since I just docked.
You shouldn't do that. One of the nice things about being in the same corporation is that we can do things like that because we are both directors in this corporation. We can access the corporation bookmarks, so we can move things around live if needed to get things done. And if I would quickly here before he gets moving complete this mission, he would be able to fly directly to those. And we're going to go ahead and split again just to make everything fair.
It did not put those in the Corp bookmarks.
If you right click, and they should be right there.
It is not showing them under Corp locations. I'm looking in...
Oh, it's under... No, it's not under Pyrox mining. That's weird.
Oh.
Yeah, I show them in there. Well, dock up and I'll just put them in a can and give them to you. What you can do with your bookmarks is you can drag them to your cargo hold, and then you will have 2 bookmarks that then you can find. I have to remember exactly how they're named, though. Because for the life of me, I do not remember how they're named. I've not done this in quite a while. But I think I'll just throw them in my cargo bay, because then I won't have to hunt. Makes things quite a bit easier. One of the things with corporate bookmarks is they do not necessarily update right away. there may be a delay in that happening.
A lot of times there is a 5-minute delay, just as there is with your assets window. So even though he had put them in there, I'm not going to be able to see them until it updates.
And unfortunately, we don't want to wait quite that long, so
I'm docked back up.
I'm doing a trade now, and here in the trade window, we just take those 2 spots that we bookmarked and we throw them in there, and then he can just drag those back into his personal bookmarks, and then when he gets out, he can just automatically jump straight to that. Now, I do need to keep the Imperial Gate permit on me, and I do have multiple types of ammunition with me. I also have some antimatter on me, which I do not need right now, so I'm going to go ahead and throw that off too. Then we're going to go ahead and look at Part 5. Part 5 is the highest paying part. We're getting about 2.2 million ISK total between the regular and the bounty. You'll notice that they consider this one to be extremely difficult because they are giving us a 6-hour timer to get the reward, which means there is a lot of damage and there's going to be a lot of DPS from a lot of little ships coming in at us all at once. That does happen. If I remember right, in the 3rd or 4th room in this one, it will be a lot of ships all at once. And we do have to, even though we're both in decent ships, because we're using drones, we do have to pay very, very close attention to what is going on. So we do have to go ahead and remember to repair so that we have guys that are not going to die. Now, I'm short 1 Hobgoblin too, so while I'm waiting, I'm going to hop over here and see if they have any.
While you're looking at that, see if they have any Hornet 2s, because I did lose one of them.
They do have Hobgoblin 2s here, so I can buy one of those. It's 520,000 ISK, so a quarter of the payout of this mission goes to just 1 drone. That is a very large drawback to using drones. However, if I would fly 1 jump over, I could save some money. However, I don't feel like taking the time right now to do that, so I'm just going to buy 1 here so I have it. And you needed Hornets?
Yes.
I'm going to look. Because this is a mission system, a lot of times these things are available. There are Hornet 2s. They're a little bit cheaper than the one I was just using. They're only 495,000. Now, if he would go 1 jump over, he could get it for 255. For the sake of speed tonight, we're just going to pay the excess and not worry about it. It's not that big a deal.
Now, for some of you people who are just starting, that is a great cost and would be a big deal and is very well worth your time to fly over there and pick it up.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, this is just for the sake of the video. We're just going to try to get through this a little bit faster. So we're gonna pay the little bit of extra just to make sure that we're not making you, the viewer, have to sit there and wait. But yeah, normally you would want to fly and pick that stuff up at whichever facility has the cheapest price, or you would want to go to a primary trade location where you can get a much better deal. In most cases, we stock up. For this particular video set, neither one of us remembered to bring spare drones, so we're kind of just having to buy some as we go tonight. Luckily, none of us have lost any of the really expensive ones, the million ISK plus ones, so all in all, this has not been real horrible.
Ogre 2s are not cheap. They are about 2.5 million a piece, and you do not want to lose them.
Yeah, they are actually worse than the sentries in most cases.
They do have a much stronger tank than the sentries, though, so they will take a lot more beating. But it's needed because they do fly slow and they have to get out to their target. They can't just sit by your ship and shoot from there.
That is one of the advantages of being able to use sentries, is that you do not have to wait for your ship. You do not have to wait for your drones to get there. Your sentries do allow you to sit back and deal your damage without actually moving. So if you have a very nice tank on your ship and you can tank the damage, you almost will never have to move. You'll be able to sit in one point and just take everything out. Are you done with the first room yet?
grabbing all of the containers now because I salvage everything and then loot all the cans afterwards.
Yep, that's the same thing I show in my salvaging video. If you don't know what salvaging is, because I'm not going through it tonight, I do have a video out there for a tutorial on how salvaging works and best practices for that.
And it is so nice since they added this loot all button, because it used to take forever to drag all the loot from each of these wrecks and each of these cans.
And Pantrick apparently is going a little nuts with his Twitter feed here. It's actually quite comical, is what it is. I am going to pull my link out here so I can just read them direct without having to wait for them to scroll, because they're actually kind of funny on what he's saying here. So let me get that up so I can just read it out here.
I can't see the Twitter feed because I don't have it up and scrolling on my screen. So
the last match, I'll read these in reverse order here. We had one where the last one we had was that D-Man 723 does not know how to play games very well. Then Pantrick asked for my age, sex, and location. Well, I'm old, I'm obviously male, and my location is in the middle of BFE. You're more than welcome to try to hunt me down. I might even give you directions if you're nice enough. And then Pantrick goes on to say, hey, does anybody want to private? You can do that on your own time, man. And if you're trying to pick up chicks on my feed, that might not be the best of ideas. I think most of the people here are guys. And then he says, frigate. Well, not exactly spelled right, but it is still funny. So that is our Twitter feed update, and that was some pretty funny stuff.
Waiting on this last wreck in this last room to finally salvage, and there it goes. One thing on salvaging, and I don't know, CTV, if you know this, but if you lock up a can and then hit salvage on your drones, it is the same as if you had just told them to salvage before you locked anything.
Oh, it does allow that. Yeah, I did not know that.
So, yeah, lock a can, and as soon as if you have the can as you're active, tell them salvage, and they will start salvaging everything like normal. So you don't have to send them to one after the other.
That is very interesting. That is one thing I did not know. Now, I've already started our countdown timer on our mission. Like I said, we had 6 hours. We are not going to need near that much time. We should be able to complete that in under 30 minutes with the two of us. So we have plenty of time to get there and get that done. As he's finishing up the last room, which I'm guessing is where he is now, I'm going to go ahead and fly to the first gate and wait there for him to get here. It's a little bit more enjoyable to watch space, in my opinion, than it is to watch the station.
And if you can see, I'm just getting back to the station now, so I will be along shortly.
And there he is.
I'll have to buy that Hornet unless you've got it and can trade it real fast.
I already bought it, but if you give me just a second, I'll contract it over to you. Now, contracting does cost you in-game money. It does cost you ISK. It is a very minimal amount, though. It is only 10,000, which is not anything horrible. So doing contracts like this are not a real big deal. I make that back in just a couple of seconds once we're inside the mission. Actually, Gabby, that is actually in the corporate deliveries. I bought it with the corp funds so that you would have access to it.
Grab it there, then.
Should just be able to go to the deliveries and pull that out. Now, you do have an advantage when you're a director or a member of a corporation where you have access to things like that, in that you can do what I just did where you buy it with corporate funds. Every corporation you join does not do that. Most corporations actually do not give you that kind of access. We happen to be very good friends in real life as well as in Eve, so we trust each other enough to give our money and our goods freely tradable between us through corporate account. I want to give a shout out to Chief Slumlord. Welcome to the show. We are just in the last mission of the 5 of 5 that we are doing tonight, and then we will keep going. As you can see, I do have a live Twitter feed running. You can tweet me at CTV99Live, and that will show up on the feed. You can see that Pantrick tonight has been sending out all kinds of love letters to everybody that's playing. It's quite comical, and it is adding something else to watch to see what he is going to say next. We're just hoping he doesn't go down the road of felching. If you don't know what that is, please don't look it up.
All right, I'm here, so I'm out of warp. You can activate the gate anytime.
Okay, gate is active. He has 10 seconds to activate the gate himself to try to get through. And I have a little fly that's bothering me, so I'm not just waving my hand in front of the camera here. Got him out of there. I am already at the second gate. It landed me right on top. As you can see by my ship's view, there are no ships here. This is an empty gate and an empty room. We are just trying to get to the last room where all of the people are. Luckily, on this one, the gates are very close together, and they are keeping us running at a very clean rate and keeping us moving just quite a bit faster. As we said earlier, Gabby's only running at about 120 meters per second. I'm running at a hair under 240, so I move a little bit faster than he does, but nonetheless, it is still slow.
Yep. A lot of times, if you are using a missile ship or something that uses guns and you can move while you shoot, you can start moving towards the gate if it's 30, 40, 50 kilometers from where you warped in and be killing your targets as you're moving to it. So hopefully they're all dead by the time you get there, and it just makes the mission go that much faster.
Did you already activate the gate?
Yes, I'm already in warp and out.
Okay, I am just now activating. To Chief Slumlord, this is a new Eve stream. I am, however, not new to Eve. My account is just about 6.5 years old. Gabby's that's here with me is just a hair over 7, and we are what you would consider old hats at Eve.
And this Canid guy right here does 1,500 DPS in EM damage. Is very dangerous to me because I am very weakly tanked against EM damage. So as you see in his first hit, I do have about 30,000 shield hit points, and he took 4% of that in the first volley. So
I am starting to hit him with my guards. He is very close, but because of his signature radius, my guards are going to hit him just fine, and they are going to do quite a bit of damage. As you can see, we've already popped him, and now we are down to fighting spider drones. Spider drones, however, you would want to use lights for. You do not want to use anything like a sentry because they move too fast. They move even faster than sometimes what the lights can keep up with. They will not outrun, however, my autocannons, so when I can get them locked, I will start firing my autocannons and get my drones and my autocannons on them. And then we should take them out fairly quickly as they're hovering around.
Spider Drone 2s, when they are in warp, good luck hitting them with anything. When they are micro warp driving, they will move faster than anything in the game.
Yeah, I've seen
about 30 kilometers a second.
Yeah, I've seen them clear 100K in under 3 seconds, so they move like there is no tomorrow. And you just have to wait for them to stop. They're going to web and scram, but you just have to wait for them to stop because otherwise you're not going to be able to hit them. I do need to go ahead and save this location, and this time I will save it directly to our corporation locations. I'm going to save it as W1 and submit that. And then we're going to go ahead and move on into the next room. Now the next room is where all of our damage is going to be and where all of the ships are going to be. Now this room here was quite a bit of damage on a single target, which is not always a good thing, but it is tankable if you understand what you're going in against. Now as you'll see on the screen here, there are quite a few guys out here. We do have just a few, but they are at range. So one of the nice things that we can do is we can start range locking them and using our long range sentries to start taking them out. Now the first things that I'm going to start with is I'm going to start taking out the frigates. Like I said before, we tend to start with frigates and then work our way around the list.
Another thing that is nice about this is in rooms like this, a lot of times they are in groups. So if you are not an extremely strong tank, you can take these out one group at a time, which limits their DPS. So that will help a lot. You can keep that in mind as well.
I am already taking damage to one of my wardens fairly heavy. They apparently completely locked up one of those, so I'm going to return my wardens to the drone bay before they start taking armor damage and just give them a second to relock.
They did the same to me as well, so I had to recall my warden as well.
So what we'd like to do is just... Yeah, what we like to do is just sit back and now wait for just a second. They're going to keep moving in towards us, and we're just going to have to just keep going.
Now, my cruise missiles can hit these cruisers still that I am firing at, so I will just keep firing them and hopefully maybe speed up their locking of me.
Zillion stole my money. Is asking whether or not I'm flying a Vexor. No, I am actually flying an Ishtar. That is a heavy assault cruiser. It has a much, much stronger tank than a Vexor could ever dream to have. Not to mention the fact it does carry a few more drones, and it is a little bit nicer.
Yeah, it is the T2 version of the Vexor.
I'm going to go ahead and relaunch out my... No, I launched the wrong ones. See, I'm talking and I'm launching the wrong ones. Now I need to get my long-range sentries back out here because these guys are over 60k, but I need to continue to take these guys out. We are taking them out with the... It does appear we're taking... You're taking one group and I was working on another one.
Yes, I started on the group on the right there of, it was approximately 7 cruisers.
And I took the group on the left that has a few battleships in it as well.
I appear to be holding aggro fairly well from these guys now, so I'm not having to worry too much about my drones.
My drones are still taking damage in shields. They keep getting locked up by these cruisers that are on the other side. I am not holding aggro for anything right now. So I'm recalling back. Hopefully now they're going to start moving this direction, though, and I should be able to start getting them in a little bit closer here.
I have a T2 equivalent Navy ship here that is just taking massive damage. And it just finally died. Now I can switch over and help you.
I have 2 cruisers left on this side. They're the ones doing the primary damage to me. One of them has just died, and now we're moving on to the next one. We're going to go ahead and take out this Tribu State Tendari. I've given up naming Caldari names, or Amarr. They make them just too difficult to even bother with. So now we have some battleships on this side that we're going to go ahead and lock up, and we're going to take them out to get their damage off of the map. As you can see, we still have damage coming in. I'm not exactly sure who they're hitting right now.
They are on me. All the battleships are hitting me. So
at this point, we are drone free. We can just go ahead and just start pounding away at these guys and knocking them off the map. And then we're going to have to see, we're going to have to recall in our drones, and we're going to have to move forward. The reason we have to move forward is that because the only person that can hit at 100K is Gabby. We could use Gabby to just bring the ships to us in a slow manner, but it is a little bit nicer to get in about 10 or 12K closer, just so that we're not having to move quite as far.
since I move so slow, and I do have the not only locking range, but firing range to hit everything from where I'm at, I will just sit here and fire and start pulling them in while he moves closer. This way it will cut down the distance that much faster.
So I'm going to go ahead and return mine. And Zillion Stole My Money is saying that he's been running a prophecy lately, doing his level 4s solo. He has tanking skills to handle up to level 5s. That is a very, very nice ship. I would love to someday actually own one. At this point, my next major ship purchase is going to be a Mackerel, and I will be doing it for level 4s and level 5s. It's quite expensive, but in the end, I think it will be a very, very nice ship for what I would like to do with it. I need to go 14K closer. I need to be just right at 70K off this Caldari manufacturing plant. At 70K, my wardens will be able to hit it just fine. And it is the last thing that we need to kill in this mission after we kill everything else. But we also have some missile batteries here that hopefully we can stay out of range of, and they are not going to start shooting at us. As you can see, Gabby is already starting to take some damage from the ships that are coming in. However, I still have 5 kilometers to go before I can stop, and at that point I will be within range. After we're done killing the ships, Gabby will either have the option of moving forward or staying where he's at and just using his cruise missiles to shoot the manufacturing plant. Either way, it doesn't really matter because it will be the last thing that needs killed. Here we are at 70K, so I can go ahead and stop. And then I will start on the cruisers that are flying my direction towards him, and then we will go back to the battleships. But I'm going to go ahead and get out my long-range ones here, and we're going to start taking these guys out.
They are shooting at one of my wardens, but I am taking them out fast enough currently that they are not doing enough damage for me to have to bother with pulling it in.
And as Zillion Stole My Money says, Macs are very nice, not exhumers. I do happen to like the Mackinaws as well as the Mackerels. The Mackinaws make ice mining at least tolerable nowadays. They would not be tolerable without them. So I'm going to go ahead and lock up the guns while I'm here too. I'm going to help him knock out one of these battleships. That will reduce the damage down to 2. And then I will start going through the cruise missile batteries. They are currently firing at Gabby, from what I can tell.
They are hitting one of my drones, and here, now that I've just finished off that battleship, I'm going to recall them, get them off of my drone, because I don't want to lose it.
That's fine. I've just started shooting the first one. It is already half armor. One more volley, and it should be just about dead. The first one is down. Moving on to the next one.
Since I do have cruise missiles, I can still keep DPS going onto these battleships that are out here, even though my wardens are not out.
Like I said, this is another huge advantage of running sentries. We are setting 75K from these things. At least I am, and I am able to hit them without needing to move. And because I don't have to move, I am also not necessarily in their range and a target for them. That is one advantage of being able to snipe from very long range. We do tend to like sniping. Sniping is something that we enjoy because you are not risking near as much. However, when you do start taking it, it just kicks your butt. Zillion Stole My Money is saying that if I hit the F key, it will automatically make my drones attack instead of having to go down and right-click attack. That is a handy thing because of all the things I wanted to know, that one I never looked up.
That's one that I've seen people use, but I never knew which key it was, and I never actually spent the time to look it up because I have been flying a Tengu a lot lately, and I do not have any drones on that, so I have not bothered to look up that information.
Well, the last thing that we have to kill in this room is the Caldari manufacturing plant. It is going to drop some worthless stuff, but we do have to do that. Zillion Stole My Money is also saying that if we do Shift R, you can return them automatically.
That is very handy as well. That one I will definitely have to remember.
I think the only one I'm going to be really concerned with is the F. Single key combos tend to be the ones that I like the best. Otherwise, I'll just set a macro on my Alienware keyboard. I'm kind of a lazy bastard.
I will probably do as I do with everything else and just set a macro onto my G700 mouse. This way I never have to touch the keyboard.
Yep, that works as well, too. Chief Slumlord is saying that he sets his to 1 for attack and 2 for return to drone bay. That's a very good idea. That does make it to where that if your hand is sitting there anyway, it is very quick to hit that. I want to welcome all the new people who have come into the room. It looks like we're starting to get fairly busy here as we're ending our run tonight. We will be on again later this weekend. I will also probably be on again tomorrow running some more. You guys are all more than welcome to come back in and watch. You're even welcome to subscribe. You all can also check out my YouTube channel where I post the highlight reels from what we've done. It is at youtube.com/user/acid hacks here. I would use CTV99, but unfortunately it's not available. You can also watch the exact same videos here on Twitch. The ones on Twitch are not necessarily playing as well as the ones that I have uploaded to YouTube. We have all kinds of new Twitter messages, so let me refresh and we will get an update on our Twitter feed. We ended the last one at, let's see here. We ended with frigate, spelled wrong. Then we have Pantrick tweeting, I love you, D-Man Player 723, woohoo! And then we have Pantrick saying, let's go down that road, CTV99, let's go. I don't think I want to go down that road with you unless you have big tits, okay? Pretty sure you're a guy, as I recall, so not gonna happen. Then he says, my favorite dessert is pie. Yup, pie. Well, what kind of pie is it, would be my question. Pantrick then pops on and says, who likes yogurt? I like some yogurt, not very much of it. I only typically prefer the ones with strawberry. Mark, how about you?
Oh, I like yogurt and pretty much most of the flavors. So I am not very particular on any of that.
Patrick then goes on to say, does anyone know where my dog went? It's a poodle. I would suggest looking in the nearest trash can. Poodles are not something I like. They bark, they yip, and they're extremely fluffy. I like English bulldogs, bull mastiffs, things like that. Things that are big and gnarly and will just chew your leg off. Not something that looks like it came out of a Madonna movie.
This manufacturing plant's down to about the last 20%, so it is finally almost dead.
Yep, it is getting there very quickly. Zillion Stole My Money says, Pantrick is a stalker. D-Man Player is saying, yep, such a stalker. As I'm starting to figure out, D-Man Player is Pantrick on Twitter. I hate to burst his bubble, but I think we figured it out.
And here is the nice station explosion. Fortunately, they do need to fix them a bit, considering the station disappears before the explosion even starts.
Okay, so I've added W1 and W2, so I can return my drones, and I can go ahead and dock and repair up the few that took a little bit of damage and turn this mission in, and Gabby can come back and salvage it up. There really isn't anything else here to kill, as you can see. There are a few towers, but we're not really going to worry about the lookouts. They will disappear as soon as I turn it in.
Yep, the lookouts don't drop anything anyway, so there really is no need to spend any time or ammunition on them.
Zillion stole my cargo, said that we have a chance for a +5 implant in that station when it dropped. We also have a chance for a very nice blueprint original. So I think I will go ahead and just fly straight into that can that dropped, and let's see what's in it. You've piqued my interest.
That chance is only about 0.004%. So there is not a extremely high chance of that.
I have had a very lucky time the last few weeks while I've been playing, so I'm holding out luck that it's got something good in it. Like maybe a snake implant.
You have had that happen twice, if I remember right, on the regular belt spawns.
Yep, I have had belt rats drop snake implants. For those of you who don't know what those are the high-end implants. They are worth quite a bit of money. I think the last one that I got was worth about 300 million ISK. It happens to still be sitting in my hangar because I never felt like selling it. I thought I would save it for a rainy day, or maybe actually put a whole set in a clone and use it. But yeah, as Chief Slumlord says, it's a high enough chance that it's better to not ignore it. And we're not going to. I am now 50k from that can and flying that direction. So I will be there ever so shortly to see what kind of luck we have tonight.
Yes, any chance in Eve is better than no chance.
Yep. I would much rather take no chance. I would much rather take the chance than not take the chance. The only time that does not apply to me is if I am in low sec. I am doing a plex there that is not locked, and I happen to see 20 reds jump into system. I will immediately fly to a safe spot regardless of the cargo that might be sitting there. It is not worth losing all of your money, your ship, and your clone in low sec.
I am just going to warp off to a planet now because I cannot get through the first gate. I do not have the gate key. And since you are still there and have not turned it in yet, I am locked out.
Okay, I am 30k from there, so I will be there ever so shortly to be done. Zillion stole my money, says that he's thinking that I'm going to fly here and it's going to be 1 scrap metal. How many ISK are you putting on that bet there, buddy?
The way my luck is with Eve, I would put a lot on that.
Chief Slumlord says, yeah, probably metal scraps, but it's better to not let the nice drop go bye-bye. So, yep, I am on my way. But I'll tell you what, guys, if it's metal scraps, I will send it your way. Just send me your Eve name in either a private message or online, and you will be the proud owner of the metal scraps if that's what's in there. Here we go. We're down to 22 kilometers now, so we're getting there. I do wish that I had room to put an afterburner on this ship just to get it up to the 500 meters per second, but I can't have everything I want and keep a tank. Could, however, see what is in this wreck as I fly by it. We got a Caldari Navy Commodore wreck. And it was worth $59,000 on its tag, so not very much indeed. I think these are the cruisers or the frigates. These must be the frigates because they're only $59,000. The cruisers should be worth just a hair bit more. We are now down to 11 kilometers. Yeah, I got some Sergeant ones last night in my video if you watch it, and they were worth about 1.2 million ISK each. It made my time in the mission be worth about 18 million ISK total just for the tags, and that was a very, very good run, I thought. Now, in our corp, we don't necessarily sell those tags. We also don't necessarily use them. We tend to put them in a can until we have just way too many, and then we go sell them all at once. We like to flood the market. It's just kind of how we roll. So here we are. We are within range to see what's in this lovely can. And I'm sorry you did not win scrap metal. I, however, did win some data sheets. So wasn't really worth the time to fly out here to check. But hey, you never know. So I'm going to go ahead and dock up now so I can get this turned in and Gabby can warp to the bookmarks that we've already made, and that will allow him to get started while we finish up the feed for the night.
Pretty as this lava planet is, I don't want to be sitting all
And yep, Zillion stole my money. You're absolutely right. It is always worth a look when you destroy a building, especially if it drops a can to go see what's in it. The first night that I started recording EVE Online this last weekend, I got a whole bunch of strippers, and they are always worth something to me because I include those with every one of my capital ships when I sell them. And Chief Slumlord, you're right. Hoarders are very great at market speculation. We're also very great at dropping the price in a given region. For example, we did that just the other day with a frigate in Dodixie. We put 200 of them on the market in less than 2 days, and we saw the price drop by over 100,000 a unit by the time we were done. That is something that we do quite well. Our production facilities and blueprints do allow us the berth and the range to be able to do that with very little effort. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and turn this one in and get this split out for us.
We are in an industrial corp, but all of our characters are well versed in combat as well.
You should be able to go ahead and jump to that bookmark. That then thus completes our In the Midst of Deadspace 5 of 5. And Zillion stole my money. You are absolutely right. Goons will control the ice prices in whatever region they happen to be in. As a former member of the CFC, I can guarantee you that this is a very large effort by the entire goon swarm. They are trying to make sure that they are sucking out as much money out of that market as they can to pay for all of their wars against anyone and everyone that they deem as a threat. I do not necessarily agree with the way that they go about that, but when you watch things like Burn Jita, it does make you want to go have some fun with them. I wouldn't necessarily want to do business with them, but I wouldn't mind going out and shooting things with them. As I said, this concludes our feed for tonight. I do hope you enjoyed and hope that maybe it helped you learn something. I did learn a few things tonight that I didn't know already, so it was good for me as well. If you guys have any further questions, you're more than welcome to hit me up on either YouTube, private message. You can hit me up in EVE. My name in EVE is CTV99, just like it is here. Or you can hit me up on Twitter. I do respond to those messages quite regularly and quite quickly when I am awake. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to give me a shout, and we'll see you all on the next go-round. Thanks a lot, guys.